Hello everyone and welcome to the Gym Challenge BBQ League finale at Griffith Park, California for the final tournament of the 2025 season. I'm Jesus Coronel, that is once again Dennis Geisler, and we are happy to be joining you for the final tournament of the 2025 season. And Dennis, we come a long way since we first began the season back in July, and here we are.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to be here. We're outside. This is crazy. It's a crazy setup that we have to even make this work here. So, I don't know. I'm really excited. This is a really fun, always a really fun event. Just for the local community. Everyone's eating. It's a barbecue. And people playing Pokemon.
Yeah, we got a lot of people playing Pokemon here. We have potentially a 6-rounder here today at Griffith Park.
Sure do.
We're not in Pico Rivera this time. We're at Griffith Park. We are venturing off, and our very first introduction for this Griffith Park barbecue finale will be Josh Fajardo against Luke Oury.
Yeah, some interesting teams. I mean, again, we're getting towards the point in Reg I where a lot of people are used to what they're playing, or at least used to what is good or that people want to use with some consistency, and so I'm mostly intrigued at kind of what people are doing to try to counter that in some ways, or try to play around some of the most common strategies that you're seeing. And I mean, we're also at a point in Reg I where like NAIC is around the corner, and some people are prepping for that. Worlds is obviously a little bit after that, but there aren't a whole lot of tournaments left for Reg I. I mean, this is literally the last day for locals, is the other thing.
Yeah, this is our last event for the 2025 season, as I said, and now we are going straight to the cameras, and okay, it looks like the cameras aren't working, so we're going to try our best to take do with the camera and see what we can do with the team presentation from each of Josh Fajardo and Luke Oury. And it looks like, okay, they're already in team preview. I just did a check, and I think, yeah, let's go ahead and discuss the teams. Yeah, we got Josh Fajardo on Lunala, Galarian Moltres, Zacian, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Ogerpon Heartflame, and Alola Ninetales, while Luke Oury on the Koraidon Fluttermane, Raging Bolt Lunala, Female Indeedee, and Chi-Yu.
Yeah, both of these teams kind of interesting. Obviously, Lunala on both of them. Obviously, Josh on that side, the one thing you see that jumps out to you is that Alola Ninetales. Something that is relevant. Alola Ninetales tends to be kind of an awkward weather setter because it actually goes before a lot of other weather. The thing that it doesn't go before is Koraidon. So it'll actually go second and turn off Koraidons or a Calcum Pulse.
Yeah, and then be able to threaten it with a powerful Blizzard should it be able to survive a hit, which it will be once we get that far, because we need to go into these. Like we don't know what Nice Island can be. You know, we've seen a lot of Light Clay. We've seen Cobra Cove from time to time. We've seen Focus Sash from time to time. Yeah. And yeah, we're gonna see. We could go here, and that doesn't look like it's working. Yeah, we got technical difficulties. So
it's outdoors. We're figuring stuff out.
Yeah, and while we figure all stuff out, let's go ahead and maybe do some base breakdowns.
The other thing that jumps out to you is the Galarian Moltres. I mean, it's not something you see a whole lot nowadays, but it's a really interesting, just a really interesting pick. Hi, it's me again.
Yeah, we're back here. We're gonna figure this out, but we could. Yeah. Unless Breton tells us otherwise, then we're gonna go ahead and break down base form and things. We don't gotta go in depth. We could just talk about what's going on between these two players as we already saw the teams. Galarian Moltres is an interesting pick because, well, obviously we don't have Yveltal, so Galarian Moltres.
Next best thing, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, Fiery Wrap is a really good attack. So. Yeah, Fiery Wrap is a good attack, hits both opponents, can typically flinch 20% of the time.
Yeah, the flinch chance is really nasty. I mean, I like the Lunalization is an interesting restricted duo. I'm obviously a fan of the Zacian. It does benefit quite a bit from if the Koraidon Sun gets turned off. There are a couple things that it gets from that, which can be really nice. I'm curious just where this is going. I don't know. I'm curious how these players will match up against each other for this. And the Lunala is on both sides. Lunala versus Lunala is always a weird matchup.
Yeah, because you usually want to think that a move like Moongeist Beam would be able to counteract the Shadow Shield, but we see from time to time sometimes it's just not enough to KO it, even though it's quad weakness.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a weird. And also, it kind of requires both of them to Terra against each other in a lot of cases, which can feel kind of awkward, especially if it's a power herb variant, then you've got to be like, okay, do I think the meteor beam's coming out right now, break the shadow shield, try to get the boost, or is it just going to be the Moongeist straight up, try to do as much damage as possible? It's a weird spot. So I'm definitely curious what that will look like as far as the messing with my mic here, as far as that goes.
Yeah, now we have a look at Luke's team. It's a standard Sun team. You see the Karada, you see the Fluttermane, you see the Chiyu. Highly aggressive stuff you can play with even Raging Bolt as well. I've already mentioned that as well.
I'm personally a huge fan of the Indeedee. Another mon that I just like quite a lot right now, partly just because, and it won't come up in this matchup, but Psychic Terrain is really, really good to have. And I think that's something that a lot of people are underrating right now, is the ability to either block Fake Out, block something like a Grimmsnarl, Thunder Wave, block just Miraidon in general, being able to shut down Miraidon to a degree, or any grassy terrain recovery that some player might have. So there's a lot that is nice to work around with the Indeedee, and also just Follow Me is such a strong move by itself.
Yeah, Follow Me, really strong attack.
As a redirector and a terrain setter, it does so much for you, and in a format like this where all you really need is Indeedee to take 1 or 2 hits and like get something else cooking, and definitely works out.
And yeah, and it's like, you go after the Indeedee, it sets Psychic Terrain, which it does enable Lunala, because Lunala do sometimes carry, they sometimes carry Expanding Force, which it gets a huge increase in power.
Yeah, and that's a nice combo there with Lunala, because when you think of Expanding Force, I mean, this Calyrex Shadow Rider is the big one that you think about in this metagame, and the Lunala is, I mean, it hits really hard. You can get the +1 from Power Meteor Beam. Like, there's a lot that you can do with that, but I don't know. I'm curious once we are able to get into battle. It looks like the battle started, but technical difficulties. We're literally outside right now. Like,
yeah, I'm trying to get a percent.
There's gonna be an issue or two just because we are quite literally sitting outside. I mean, it's a nice day. It is a nice day.
I'm trying to look over to see what's going on here, and it looks to be like Zacian and Moltres is out for Josh, while Terra, it looks like it's Lunala and Raging Bolt from Luke. At least from what I'm looking at.
We'll see when we get into it. We're a little distance away from the players, but I mean, as far as the event goes, I mean, it's a nice venue. I like being here. It's a nice day. We got our tents out. A lot of people, it's fun because we've got our benches here for people to play at, but a lot of people are playing their rounds like under the shade, under trees and stuff, which is really fun.
And okay, well, I guess I'm not sure how much more talking we can do. It seems like we got Terra down on Moltres and it's fainted. We do see the Terra Fairy Lunala as well. I believe it went for Expanding Force if I caught my eyes correctly. And well, we have a Zacian and Urshifu left from Josh's side of the field. Luke, I think they just lost the Raging Bolt this turn after I got my eyes. I'm trying to catch up the chat as well because I had a little bit of a vision, trying to give you guys some context.
Yeah, we'll see where it's going.
we do see Moltres and Ninetales fainted. I think we've gone frozen again.
We'll see if we can get it working.
Yeah, this is gonna be a interesting one. Oh yeah, that's doing.
But in any case, that Lunala, the thing about the Terra Fairy Lunala, it is kind of an awkward matchup against the Zacian specifically, just because Zacian does feel okay just clicking Behemoth Blade into either form. And so it can be kind of awkward for Lunala, and also, like, Lunala doesn't have the greatest physical defense.
Okay, we can get the cameras. I think we might be back now. Lunala using Moongeist Beam is going to go into the Zacian. I don't know it has the bulk to survive another one? No. So it's Urshifu 11, I think I saw you Searching Strikes in the Sun.
Yeah, which in Sun won't do a ton of damage. I'm curious what it will do, though.
It's one-on-one, so that's actually a really... Okay, so without much context, we can see it's a 1v1, so it looks like Josh and Luke are making this battle really close.
Yeah, and Josh, I think, needs to pick up the KO here. Hi, it's me again.
Hello, everyone. We're going to reset again.
There we go, and we got the overlay, too.
It looks like we have some cameras glitching, though. That's the issue.
It's outside. We'll figure it out. I think the Urshifu has to pick up the KO here if
I mean, the sun's still up.
Josh is going to win this, which I don't think it's going to. I mean, it is Shadow Shield is down, so you do have the ability to go through that. But with the sun up, It's not even like you can get a crit because you're already critting with Surging Strike. So
yeah, there's the forfeit. Luke's gonna take number one. We're gonna try our best to fill in what happened because well, we did see a couple KOs. We have a couple bit of camera issues, and we were able to at least eventually see that Luke was able to take M1.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw at least at the end that the sun was up, which either means that Alola Ninetales wasn't there, or Alola Ninetales just wasn't able to maintain the weather advantage. So I'm curious at least how Josh wants to play around that. Because obviously that seriously harms the Urshifu Rapid Strike as well, although you'd imagine the Heart Flame is a decent bring at that point. But
yeah, we have a screen at least. We can work with a screen at the very least.
Yeah,
so.
we got Pokemon. We're watching.
Yeah, so we did see some items on the screen here. We did see that Urshifu was holding that Choice Scarf. So I mean, having a sun up is going to insanely cripple its power. So that's something to be wary.
Yeah, for sure.
Before anyone asks on technical, Luke won game 1.
Yeah.
Just so we are aware.
Get that. we'll get that fixed. But yeah, Luke did win game 1. Now we're waiting for game number 2. I mean, didn't know the exact brings last time.
Yeah, we saw like the end game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we're actually going to see some items here, so now we can actually talk a little bit more in depth about some of these Pokemon. You know, see the Lunala with the Power Herb, Ninetales with the Focus Sash, Moltres with the Cobra Cloak, which is interesting, and then obviously the Choice Scarf on the Urshifu.
Yeah, I like the Covert Cloak on Moltres. The thing you like seeing on Moltres usually is like a berry.
Or Black Glasses.
Yeah, or Black Glasses, which could have been nice, but you can't really run a berry in this format, just because there's horses everywhere. I really don't know what the bring is. I think all 6 of these Pokemon have value against Luke's team, and so it does end up being an issue for Josh of like, okay, what do you actually bring against whatever 4 ends up coming? Because
I think Zacian has to be one of them, right? Because
I think Zacian does have to come, partly just because it's good against Lunala. Like, even if Lunala Terras, like, you have to be afraid of that Lunala Terra to a degree, and I think that if it does, then Zacian does have an answer against it. Which is nice.
The thing about Luke's team, as he looks to end the set with a 2-0 victory, is like a lot of his teams aggressively, sound for damage. So it's like, which part of the damage do you want? Do you want Icy Wind Patrol with Flutter Mane? Do you want the Lunala potentially to like fire out those Moongeist beams, or do you want to bring out Koraidon GU to pressure those immensely powerful heat waves in the sun?
Yeah, well, and I think you do have to be worried, and I'd imagine it happened in Game 1 if Josh is running it again. I'd also imagine part of the reason why Josh ran it is that you have to be a little bit worried about the Ninetales coming out just immediately, and not shutting down, but certainly working against the Koraidon Sun. And so you might have to kind of, I don't know, like, do some switching around to make that work. But
and here we go. We actually have game 2 this time as our opener for the League Cup finale here at Griffith Park. We have Luke on the Lunala plus Indeedee, Josh on the Ninetales Lunala.
Okay, it means that the Psychic Terrain gets up, and there's no way to turn that off. The Lunala does have the Power Herb on both sides, so there is a lot of value here in just going for the Meteor Beam, potentially just into the Lunala, or into the Alola Ninetales for that matter. Like, Alola Ninetales will bring it down to Sash, which will be pretty valuable.
Yeah, I find this interesting because, like, we have a Trick Room being clicked by Josh here, trying to reverse speed order, because, again, a lot of Josh's Pokemon are slower than Luke's, but, like, Luke wants the slower half of his team at the Lunala and the Indeedee, so I'm actually interested in that decision. And
yeah, it's actually, I'm curious which of these Lunalas is actually slower.
Indeedee switches out, so Sunaloo's has Psychic Seed boost that got earlier in the turn, and yeah, there was a fear that I had, like, before when I saw Josh make that move, because Koraidon comes in here, Oury Calcum Pulse sets the sun, and I think I saw the Ninetales pick up Aurora Veil.
Yeah, which would not work anymore, so we'll see.
And a Terra comes out from Luke.
I don't hate that. It has to be the Lunala, and it has to be to avoid...
That Terra Fairy again.
Yeah, it has to be to... And again, this team isn't super Terra reliant in general. I mean, Koraidon likes Terra, but can probably operate without it for a couple of turns.
Yeah, there's the Aurora Veil. Not gonna work as the sunlight's out on the field. Lunala for Luke goes first and goes through that Moongeist Beam into Josh's Lunala.
How much will this do?
This is quad effective. It's not a knockout at 25 HP, and there's a Trick Room.
Damage, though. That is a lot.
Which inadvertently now friends the Koraidon, because Koraidon's now slower.
That is true. At the same time, Koraidon can just protect, can stall a little bit out, can also just switch. I mean, at this point, when you've done this much damage to the other person's restricted, you're already in a really nice spot. The Lunala also doesn't have Protect, so it's a pretty safe Meteor Beam into that slot as well. Or just a Meteor Beam into the Ninetales. The only issue is that the Ninetales, yeah, can just click a Fairy move into Koraidon. That has to be a concern. But Josh can also read that, potentially avoid the Koraidon, because it's a really obvious Protect turn for Koraidon. Which could also mean that Luke reads the non-attack into Koraidon, or just says, I don't care if my Koraidon goes down, if I can get one attack off of it.
There's a Koraidon Protect.
It makes sense that it's the Protect here.
Yeah, there's the Protect there from the Koraidon here, and it looks like, Meteor Beam comes out from Luke's Lunala, so it looks like it's slower than Josh's.
Yeah, it's either a speed tie or it's slower. Either way, it's pretty notable.
Power Herb activates, does it connect? It connects into the Josh's Lunala, down it goes.
That's huge, because it means that the Lunala can't hit into you, and so it just is going to be a Shadow Shield break if what we saw is locked in with the Moonblast.
Yeah, Moonblast into the Lunala. It's not going to do much for that Shadow Shield. Nothing going to special attack drop either, and now Josh has to look for that Zacian and Ogerpon in the back with Trick Room up.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you even do here? Because, like, what do you do to hit this Lunala?
you could just go Terrifier Ivy Cudgel.
Could go Terrifier Ivy Cudgel,
but there's a Expanding Force.
Yeah, do you just get blown up by Expanding Force, or you just get blown up by Moongeist? Like, what do you do here?
Yeah, this is tough because, like, I think from the lead, Luke pressuring that Psychic Terrain, actually, I think it's the reason why I think Josh is falling behind in this game.
Yeah.
The offensive pressure that Luke's been threatening, like, even without the speed, you just threaten great spread damage with Lunala.
Yeah. At this point, I think it's a perfectly safe Expanding Force. Like, I really don't think there's any reason you can't click Expanding Force, and then if Koraidon drops, it drops. I don't think that's a huge issue, but you could also follow it up onto the Ninetales, or even the Ogerpon if you just want to try to finish it off. But Lunala should be the fastest, or like slowest, and therefore fastest thing on the field right now.
All right, and this is really weird as well because it also depends on. Yeah, we got an ice cream battle going on in the area, so we'll be fine right now. And yeah, we're gonna see the Koraidon switch out. Might be Indeedee again. Yeah, it is Indeedee again.
Yeah, which is totally fine switch in. It's it works. It's functional.
Yeah, it's slower, and there's Expanding Force. I don't think Ogerpon takes this at all. No. Oh, it does!
6 HP on Ogerpon, 1 HP with the Focus Sash on Ninetales.
Yeah, there's the Ivy Cudgel. It's in the sun. It's no more Shadow Shield. It knocks over a critical hit. Hold on.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, now the trigger actually benefits this Ogerpon, unless it's Indeedee slower.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Indeedee should be well slower than the Ogerpon or the Ninetales.
All right, the Blizzard Connect? Yeah, no, it didn't.
Yeah, that's Blizzard for you.
70% accuracy without snow.
Yeah. And it was a clever little move for Josh there to do that.
Raging Bolt there is also...
Raging Bolt will be slower than these two also.
Yeah. completely over because, well, how much does this play rough do? Not enough. Oh, man.
Yeah.
If that connected by turn before, we probably would be talking about a different game. And yeah, Aurora fails again. Imagine it all Blizzard and not connected. Imagine.
Yeah, and at this point, I think that Luke has a pretty easy line to win this one, a Flame Charge into the Ninetales to finish it off, and then just a Flare Blitz into the Zacian.
Yeah, I'm having a really hard time seeing how Josh can win this game. I'm having a really hard time.
I think, I really don't see it. Like, unless Zacian can take a... Yeah, I guess Zacian still has the Terra available, so that's something, but I think the big thing is just get the Ninetales out of the way, and then it's just the Zacian, and then when it's both Raging Bolt and Koraidon out on the field, something is going to have really good damage against the Zacian.
Well, we do see a Terrassalization here from Josh. It is a Zacian, and Zacia is going to Terrasalize into that water type, just in case Flare Blitz, targets a Zacian, but like it's pretty unlikely that happens.
Yeah, if Luke plays it a little bit
and then the
weird,
Follow Me comes out.
Yeah, there's the Follow Me, which makes sense. If Luke plays this a little bit weird, I can imagine a way back in for Josh, but...
Play Route goes first, that's out Indeedee, and now you're unironically weak to that Thunderclap now.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that now you're weak to
it. If Flare Blitz knows to play Richard in 9, so I think the game's over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the smart play from Luke there. Just get the speed boost, because Zacian is almost always going to be spec'd to be faster than Koraidon. And so now, I mean, I don't really know what to do. I mean, it's close combat Thunderclap, or honestly, even just close combat Thunderbolt. Like, don't don't worry about messing with the Thunderclap, whatever. Although I guess that doesn't even really matter.
I mean, you could still do it, and yeah, we see it right away.
Yeah.
Look, Oury gonna win round number 1 with 2-0 victory.
2-0 victory. I mean, it was really nicely played. I mean, the Ninetales is designed to try to beat the Koraidon, but it felt more like Luke had the counterplay to the Ninetales, which is a really nice job playing around that. So, yeah, just really well played, all things considered.
Yeah, all things considered, that is round number 1 done here at Griffith Park for the League Cup BBQ. We have probably 6 rounds of contested play here for our final tournament of 2025, and once we get these technical difficulties sorted, we'll be right back after this break.